All right, let's jump right into this. We're heading way back to ancient India to explore a timeless puzzle about love, loss, and logic. It's a story that really makes you wonder, what does it truly mean to be a life partner? So here's the heart of the whole thing. You've got a woman brought back from the dead. Pretty wild, right? And now, three different guys who all played a key part are claiming she's their rightful wife. I mean, where do you even start with a puzzle like that? And what's so fascinating here is that every single one of these claims feels, well, pretty solid. You've got the devotee, a guy whose whole claim is built on pure, unwavering devotion. Then there's the pilgrim, who took care of her spiritual journey. And finally, the mage. I mean, he literally brought her back from the dead. You can see why this is so tough. They all have a seriously strong argument. Okay, so yeah, this is a real head scratcher. To figure this out, we've got to rewind and see how this absolutely wild situation even came to be. Believe it or not, this story doesn't start with death. It starts with a choice. There was this woman, right? Known everywhere for being beautiful and just a wonderful person. And she had three suitors, all of them like the total package. Handsome, rich, smart, you name it. Her dad was completely stuck. He had no idea who to pick. And then, out of nowhere, tragedy strikes. Before anyone could make a decision, she gets sick with this sudden fever and she dies. Just like that. The choice is gone, and these three men are just completely devastated. And it's this shared heartbreak that's going to send them down three totally different roads. So this tragedy hits them all hard, but they all deal with it in their own way. Let's break down what each of them did, because, their actions are the clues to solving the whole riddle. All right, so suitor number one, his response is all about pure devotion. He doesn't go anywhere. In fact, he builds a hut right there at the cremation ground and just lives there. He's literally sleeping on her ashes every single night. Talk about a constant reminder of his grief. Now, the second suitor, he goes a completely different route. His path is all about duty, about spiritual tradition. He collects her bones and sets off on this incredible pilgrimage to the holy Ganges River. The belief was that this would help her soul find peace, so he was taking care of her afterlife. And then you have the third guy. He's just defiant. He completely refuses to accept that she's gone. So what does he do? He commits his entire life to finding a way to cheat death. He travels all over, seeking out this forbidden knowledge, this magical spell called the Sanjivani mantra, which was said to have the power to bring people back to life. And listen, we're not talking about a quick thing here. This went on for years. Think about it. Years of that pilgrimage, years of intense magical study, and years of sleeping on a bed of ashes. The level of commitment from all three of these guys is just mind-blowing. So this all leads up to the most incredible part of the tale, the moment when these three very different paths suddenly crash back into each other. And you can't make this stuff up. It's like it was written in the stars. All three of them end up back at that same cremation ground on the exact same day. The pilgrim is back from his long journey, the mage now knows the magic spell, and the devotee? Well, of course, he never left. He's still there. And this is where you see how they all needed each other. It's like a puzzle. The pilgrim brings the bones. The devotee has her ashes right there. And the mage has the magic words. He chants the mantra, and boom! All their separate efforts come together to create this impossible miracle. She literally stands up, whole and alive again. So, as you'd expect, the second she's back, all three guys are like, she's my wife. And this is the exact riddle that gets dropped in the lap of the legendary King of Vikramaditya. Now, there's a catch for the king. He's under this curse where if he figures out the answer to a riddle, he has to say it out loud. If he doesn't, his head will explode. No joke. So he's forced to use his incredible wisdom to solve this messy, emotional problem. So here's where the king's genius comes in. He totally reframes the problem. He stops looking at them as three suitors. Instead, he looks at the meaning behind what each of them did, and he gives them new titles, new roles, based on what those actions represent in society. Okay, first up, the mage, the guy who brought her back to life. The king thinks about this and says, wait a minute, giving someone life, that's what a parent does. It's like a second birth. So just like that, the mage isn't a suitor anymore. His action has made him her father. All right, now for the pilgrim. He's the one who took her bones to the holy river to perform the last rites for her soul. In that culture, whose job is that? That's the duty of a son for their parents. So the king says his actions have defined his role. He is now essentially her son. So who does that leave? Only one guy left, the devotee. The one who never left, the one who basically gave up his own life to stay with her in death, sleeping on those ashes. The king looks at this and sees something different. It wasn't about creation, it wasn't about duty, it was about partnership, about sharing in the darkness. And that, the king declares, is what a husband does.
And this is the perfect summary of his thinking. It's just brilliant. He took their actions and gave them meaning. Giving life makes you a father. Performing the final rituals makes you a son. But staying by her side through the absolute worst, that was an act of a partner. And that's why the devotee gets to be the husband.
You have to admit, the logic is pretty airtight for its time. But it also makes us think about a very modern question, doesn't it? What really, at its core, defines a partnership? And just as a little aside, in the bigger story this comes from, because the king gave the right answer, he broke his vow to stay silent, so the ghost he was carrying flies off, and he has to go catch him all over again. But the riddle, that stays with us. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. Do you think the king made the right call? Is that shared suffering and devotion more important than the incredible act of bringing someone back to life? There's no easy answer here. And honestly, that's probably why we're still talking about this story hundreds and hundreds of years later.